For Nordic Fjords Hole 7, I'm using Tony and KK's guide. I will have the link to that guide in the description below, as well as some screenshots at the end of this video. If I'm playing with a Goliath, I'm going to have the red ring next to the rough line. I'm going to do about 2.8 bars of backspin and 1 to 2 bars of right spin, depending on what ball you are using. I'm going to over adjust my shot at max distance with a plus 35% over adjustment of my shot, and then give it about a half a ball of curl to the right. If you're using less side spin, you're going to need to use more curl, and if you're using more side spin, you're going to use less curl. I found that using the Goliath is actually a little bit better than the B52 just because you have the aim points. I haven't really figured out exactly the aim points that I like yet for the B52, but I do like having the blue ring next to the rough instead of the red just to give myself some room. I do use the same spin set, but I haven't found a complete setup just yet. But it is going to be where your second bounce is going to be pretty much just before the green on the fringe line there, and then you're going to adjust with a plus 35% over adjustment of your shot. So the difference with the B52 is that you're going to be adjusting more rings and the Goliath is less rings, but the B52 is more accurate, so if you hit a great ball, it's not going to hurt as much. So again, in Tailwind, we're going to be using a plus 35% over adjustment of our shot at max distance of our club. You're going to use about 2.8 bars of backspin and 1 to 2 bars of right spin, and then you're going to curl your ball basically, depending on what the chart says, either 50% or a little bit more depending on how much spin you use. So again, in Tailwind, we're playing with a plus 35% over adjustment of our shot. More often than not, I'm going to be getting a headwind on this shootout, and I play this at max distance with a plus 30% over adjustment of my shot with my sniper. I'm going to do 4.5 bars of backspin and 1 to 2 bars of right spin. My blue ring is going to be next to the rough. My second bounce is going to be just below the rough line, and my ball guide is going to be kicking down the slope to a straight angle, and it's going to be basically to the right of the pin, or the right, pretty much to the right of the hole. You don't want it going to the hole because of the wind push. The wind push is going to be pushing your ball back, so you're going to have it offset basically above the pin, and it'll be pushing your ball backwards just like it has here. So again, we're going to be playing this at max distance with a 30% over adjustment of our shot. So here again, we have another headwind. I'm going to do 4.5 bars of backspin and 1 to 2 bars of right spin. My blue ring is going to be near the rough or touching the rough, and then my second and third bounce are going to be just below the rough line at the top, and my ball guide going basically down the slope above the pin. So you don't want it pointing at the pin, because if it's pointing at the pin, you're going to fall really short. So you want it to go above the pin because the wind is going to be pushing your ball back. So again, we're going to be playing this at max distance with a plus 30% over adjustment of our shot. So again, with the headwind, we're going to be doing 4.5 bars of backspin and 1 to 2 bars of right spin. It depends on what you are more comfortable with. I have used both spins and both have come in just fine. My blue ring is going to be either touching the rough or just into the rough, and my second and third bounce are going to be just below the rough line at the top. And you want your ball guide going above the pin basically. So just kind of visualize that your ball guide is going to be pushing back towards the pin when you do take the shot, because with the headwind, it's going to be pushing your ball backwards. So again, we're going to be playing this at max distance with a plus 30% over adjustment of your shot. So again, one last time, we're going to be playing in a headwind at max distance with a plus 30% over adjustment of our shot, even though we are not in max distance of our sniper. You're going to use 4.5 bars of backspin and 1 to 2 bars of right spin. Blue ring is going to be either into the rough or just touching the rough. You want to actually play with this a little bit and see what best works for you. But your second and third bounce, you want it to be basically just below that rough line, and it will get a nice kick down to the hole. So again, we're going to be playing this at max distance with a plus 30% over adjustment of your shot. And remember, hit perfect and happy golfing. The link to the shootout guides is in the description below, and there are some screenshots at the end here.